Всем привет! Еще одно видео с поездом. Только сейчас едем в Бостон из Нью-Йорка. Немножко солнце засвечивает. Всегда хотела побывать в Бостоне, тем более в Гарварде. Именно побывать, не обязательно учиться, потому что все-таки я больше за Стэнфорд, если вот выбирать между такими топовыми школами, просто из-за того, что они учат больше entrepreneurs и стартаперов, чем вот когда ты прям много учишься, чтобы, скажем, пойти как в Гарвард Ло. Вот, но именно посетить, посмотреть очень всегда хотела, просто потому что, это очень известная школа, там так красиво, там для меня вот как такой Гарри Поттеровский вайб. И сегодня я туда еду, чтобы взять интервью. Мы его запостим здесь тоже как отдельное видео. Интервью будет с девочкой, которая учится сейчас в Гарварде. Поговорим, узнаем, как вообще проходит учеба, как ее туда взяли, что она для этого сделала и так далее. Очень-очень excited. Ну все, я приехала в Бостон. Хожу сейчас здесь по улочке. Мне напоминает вот такой маленький, чистенький Нью-Йорк с такими вот тоже домиками прикольными. Посмотрите. Такой вайб классный. Хэллоуин тоже везде. Короче, очень классно. Единственное, что я уже 5 минут хожу вот так по улочкам, и нет мусорки нигде. Мне надо выбросить вещи. Я в поезде не хотела оставлять, но, короче, не могу найти мусорку. Я в Гарварде. Вы представляете? Короче, сижу здесь, и до сих пор не верится, что я на самом деле сюда доехала. Красота. Я сейчас сижу на ступеньках большой их библиотеки. Это туристическое такое место. Сюда заходят, вот, чтобы сфотографироваться на ступеньках и так далее. Мне Диана, девочка, с которой я интервью беру сегодня, дала вот такую штучку, как будто бы я семья, и говорит, что я с ней могу, в принципе, заходить в любые места здесь, почти в любое заведение. Такое ощущение странное. Я же здесь ходила в университет, была в разных университетах, гуляла. Именно здесь такое странное ощущение, вот как будто бы I belong здесь, знаете, вот как будто бы я должна быть здесь. Мне очень-очень нравится территория. Сейчас будем записывать интервью, расскажем вам все вот про жизнь здесь, как она есть, про то, как сюда поступить и так далее. И я просто буду ходить гулять по территории Гарварда, зайду, куплю себе вещи, какие я хотела здесь, типа кофточку Гарварда, книги и так далее. В принципе, все, попозже полечу домой. Hi everyone, so this is Diana here for this interview. I was so excited when she responded on LinkedIn just because I was always a fan of Harvard, wanted to see it. When I just came, I felt like I'm in a Harry Potter movie. So excited to learn about the school as well as to understand how you got in, whatever you can share with us. And Diana also said that she can show us the dorm, which is also very exciting. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from, etc.
Okay, no problem. So hi everyone, my name is Diana. I'm from Stamford, Connecticut. I'm not an international student, so I'm so sorry about that. But my parents are originally from Ukraine. They moved here about 20 years ago, I want to say. So they came here for me and my sister so we can get an education. I went to a high school in Stamford called AITE. It's a magnet school, so it's a pretty small school, about like 600, 700 kids. But everyone here is from a different background. People come from small schools, big schools, and also different education levels, different classes. I have a sister. She goes to Fairfield University. She's studying accounting. She's getting her master's right now. But my parents, they didn't go to college here. So I am a first generation student, which is the case for a lot of people here. But I feel like the reason I kind of chose Harvard was because, one, it's definitely a prestige school. It was one of the more prestigious schools I got into, but I think it has the best computer science program, which is what I want to concentrate here. We call them concentrations here. We don't call them majors, which is the only school that really does that. I don't know why, but yeah, I have no clue. I guess they just want to be cool. I haven't declared my major here yet, but my plan is computer science.
Since you haven't declared the major, what is it that you're studying? And it's your first year at Harvard, right? So how is it going?
Right now, I am going to say it's really hard. Just to get used to everything. The transfer to college is very different. You're kind of very independent. And it's not just classes you're worried about. It's about, okay, like cleaning up your dorm, doing laundry. At home, I didn't really do that. But right now I'm taking, I'm taking CS50, which is one of the most popular computer science courses here. There's, I think, maybe 200, 300 people taking it. And then I'm also taking a Ukrainian history class. Yeah, I thought it would be more fun to learn about my background. But I did go to Ukrainian school for basically my whole life. But I didn't like learn it in depth, so I thought I could get the chance to do that here. I'm also taking calculus here. That's pretty good. That's going pretty well. And then psychotherapy, which is just basically a psych class. That's a general education class, which is one of the easier ones here, but it's definitely one of my favorites. It's more out of my comfort zone. It's definitely something that I wouldn't do, but I am kind of making my making my view very broad just to make sure that I do want to do computer science. I've always been driven by business and comp sci. I know in high school I took a lot of classes in both of those fields. So here, especially with CS50, it definitely is looking like I'm going to do computer science.
That's very exciting. And for my Russian-speaking channel, can you, because Diana also shared that she speaks fluent Ukrainian, which is so awesome. Like, I love that when parents that move here teach their kids their native language. It's so amazing. Maybe you can share something Ukrainian just so, if you feel comfortable.
I don't even know. What do you want me to share?
I mean, maybe a little bit about your, like, going to Ukrainian school. How did that feel? Why did your parents want you to speak Ukrainian? Do you speak Ukrainian at home? Like, stuff like that, more personal.
Yeah. You want me to say this all in Ukrainian? Okay. То, як мені то все сказати? Okay. Ну, то мої батьки приїхали тут десь 20 років тому. Я вдома повністю балакаю по-українськи, і я ходила до української школи з садочку до 11 класу. Я закінчила там школу в Стемфорді, українська школа, українознавства. І я ходила десь кожної суботи по пару годин. Але там ми вчили трошки історію, культуру, літературу, українську мову. А ще що? Так, чуть-чуть.
So awesome.
Yeah.
You were born here?
Yeah, I was born here. Але мене батьки перші навчили українську мову, потім вже в англійську, як я вже в школу пішла, то я вже потім англійську вивчила. Десь 5 років перше тільки українську знала, і як я вже пішла там в кіндергартен і в перший клас, то тяжко було трошки вже вивчити англійську, бо всі навколо мене знали вже англійську, бо батьки їх навчили, а я там сиджу і не знаю, що мені казати.
Очень классно, спасибо. Let's talk, I guess, about being accepted to Harvard. How did that feel? And when we came in, you said that you were not expecting to get in. So how did you get in? And what did you feel when you got that letter? And how was that a physical letter? Like, how did it go?
So I don't remember what day Ivy Day was. I think maybe March 18th. Ivy Day is when all the Ivy schools release their decisions if you got in or not. So everything is virtual now. Everything's on the computer, digital. I think I opened Princeton and UPenn first. I don't really remember. I think I got waitlisted at one of them, and then I think I got rejected from the other. But then I opened Harvard, and I remember that my grandma and my dad were at church, and it was me, my mom, and my sister, and we put up the phone and recorded the video. I could also share it with you too.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so you could have like a reaction video. Yeah, so we were in I think we were in the dining room, and we opened the letter, and you just see confetti. And then there's also like a Harvard 2028 video, which is my graduation year. So they like made a video just for us, and it just said that congratulations, you're accepted. Yeah, I know, it was crazy. I started like jumping up and down. I was like, oh my God, Mom, I just got into Harvard. Harvard. It was very exciting. My mom also didn't really expect it. One of the schools that I was really looking into was Yale because it was close in Connecticut, but I did get waitlisted there. I didn't get in fully. So then after that, after all the decisions came out, I made the choice Harvard because it was the one that accepted me right away and I didn't have to wait for it.
Which one is harder to get in terms of
Like acceptance rate?
Yeah.
I think Harvard.
Harvard.
I don't remember for sure, but I think Harvard now is 3%, and then Yale is like 4 or something. Every year it changes, so it definitely gets more competitive usually every year.
This is so exciting. Like, I can't even imagine these feelings. I had a similar feeling. I just got accepted to Antlers program. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's like, it's not a school, it's an accelerator program for startups. I have a startup that I'm working on. No, it's in New York. Yeah, so they're a global accelerator, but the acceptance rate to the New York program is 3% as well.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, it was very exciting. Like, I can kind of relate, but not in the same sense because like Harvard, everyone knows about Harvard, right?
Like nobody understands how hard it is to get in with those rates. It's
Yes,
really hard.
yes. But at the same time, I also feel like it depends. Like, did you have an interview, or it's more of like you submit an application? How did the application process go?
So I filled it out through Common App, which is, I'm pretty sure everyone really uses that, but you can do it just separately from Harvard. But I applied, I think, to 20 other schools through there, which is the maximum. And on there, you write about your background, you write about what school you went to, like if you have a class rank. My school didn't rank. Your GPA, what classes you took, all your grades, and like the extracurriculars that you did, maybe clubs, things like that. And then you also have supplements. Every school does it differently, but for Harvard, I think there were 3 supplements. You write about, I think, 250 to like 1,000 words. I don't even remember all this, but I think it's around there. I think one of the questions was, oh, what do you expect to do with your Harvard education after college, things like that, which I'll also share with you. I don't remember from the top of my head. The same goes for every school usually. That's just how the Common App works. But there's supplements, and then there's just like the background that you have.
So not necessarily like the interview with someone in person.
So sorry. Yeah. So after the application, I think basically like a month or 2 after, you get an email from an alumni. So someone who went to the school, like ages ago, basically, like that graduated maybe like 20 or 30 years ago. So I had a woman from New Canaan, which is the city right next to me. She emailed me. And she said, oh, like if you have time, if you're available, we can set up an interview. You don't have to do it. It's not mandatory. You can if you want, but it definitely helps your chances, I would say.
Why do they do it?
It's more to just know what you are who you are as a person, not just academically. That's definitely what Harvard really looks for. Yeah. They look at what you do outside of school more than inside. If you're a well-rounded person, like if you're kind, things like that. So in my interview, I talked about basically, I think what kind of got me in, this kind of tied into my college essay to my personal statement. I wrote about helping my parents basically my entire life. My dad buys cars from auctions, and we buy them. They're totaled cars. They were in an accident. So we buy them, we fix them up. I order all the parts, and then we resell them. So that was very interesting for my interviewer. And I remember after I emailed her saying thank you for interviewing me, and she definitely remembered that fact. So everyone here kind of has their own story. It doesn't have to be a sad story. It doesn't have to be a lot. It's just if you have a story, if you know who you are, and all your experiences, they all tie in. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say that I feel like they don't only accept like super smart people. It's not about that, right? That's what I felt was Antlers like interview, and I was applying to grants when I went to school, and I got like 5 of them, I think. And like I was also writing more of like a personal story, sharing why I need this, right? Like how I'm gonna help a lot of people on social media if I go through this and stuff like that. So yeah, I
They
mean,
don't just look at academics for sure.
yeah.
You have to have the academics to kind of get through the first stage. I remember in my Yale interview, the reason I got an interview was because my academics met their standards. You know, I had a high GPA, I had good extracurriculars in school, but they want to interview you just to know you as a person.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, yeah, that's so exciting. Do they share why you got in or not really? You don't, or do you know?
Yeah, I don't really know why I got in, but I did have a college, what are they called? Like the person who read my application, they emailed me after and they said that they were very moved by my personal statement, so my college essay. So I think that's one of the reasons. But I know at Harvard, I don't know if other schools do it, you can request to have your file back so you could see what they put as notes from your when you applied. So I'm waiting for that right now. I don't have it yet, but that basically does give you some reasons of why you got in.
This is so interesting. Okay.
There's a lot of YouTube videos out there about that too.
Nice. Yeah, I should check them out. You would say that other than, of course, like good GPA and stuff like that, like your academics, you have to think of like whatever you put in the personal statement in that essay. That's like very important for any other tips you would share on the like application itself.
Yeah, I would say try to be as creative as you can. It's definitely hard. I didn't think I was being creative when I was filling everything out, but you are definitely you are more interesting than you think. That's really what I have to say. And you shouldn't think that it's impossible. It definitely is possible. Like half the people that I met here, they didn't expect to get in here either. But everyone definitely does have their story, and you're very, very interesting. You might not think of it at the moment, but all your experiences and all your background, it definitely sums you up as a person.
Did you have any letters of recommendation from like a school or anyone else? Do they require those, or is more of like an addition to the application that actually helps?
So yeah, every school does do it differently. I'm pretty sure for Harvard it is required. But even with the college process, you should definitely have letters of recommendation, even if you're applying to different schools. Most schools do require them. I asked my computer science teachers, so I would definitely recommend asking the teacher that you like in whatever field you're interested in, or whatever or whichever teacher helped you get interested into that field. So I asked my computer science teacher. I also asked my math teacher because computer science and math are tied together. So you kind of have to be a little bit smart about the process of who you're requesting it from. And I also got a recommendation letter from my guidance counselor at school because I went to her every year asking for advice, so she knew me as a person.
What else did you do to prepare for this, like maybe academically, maybe some other way, because you were applying to a few different schools. So how did you, like, did you write different personal statements based on that school? Or, yeah.
So no, I only wrote one personal statement that I sent to every single school. During high school, I always was that kind of person who wanted to do everything on my own. I was very independent, so I never asked for really any help. I tried to just, okay, if I can do this, I could figure it out on my own. So I never got tutored. I never got any other outside help, but that's just me. Other people definitely, like, if that's for you, you can do it. I would recommend doing it. If you can get like maybe like a college like mentor or like a college advisor, things like that. Like that's definitely a resource to look into. But you also have to spend a good amount of money on that too, which personally I was not willing to. I mainly just looked to my high school guidance counselor. That's who helped me the most probably because she did it with a bunch of other students. She knows how the process worked. But other than that, I don't really think I actually got any help from any other people.
So you got accepted and you moved here, right, to live on a campus while you're studying. How did this process go? How did you choose a dorm? Do you pay for it, or it's kind of like something that Harvard provides? Like, how does that work?
So you randomly, first year especially, you randomly get assigned a dorm. It's located in the Harvard yard usually, but then there's like 2 or 3 other dorms that are outside of it. I live in a dorm called Thayer this year, and I think there's like 5 floors. There's a good amount of people there, but you also get random roommates. You can get a single, maybe, if you're lucky. So it definitely depends, or you can also get a suite with like maybe like 3 to 5 people.
Can you get a single if you pay extra?
I don't really know. I don't think so. Maybe if you have like maybe a disability, you can definitely get a single. But I don't really think so, honestly. So it's all completely random. But then the dorm situation depends on your financial aid. Personally, I don't pay that much, but other people definitely pay the full price. I think it's about, I know tuition's, I think like 80,000 maybe, and then the living situation is about like 10 or 15,000
A year.
a year, yeah. But it's also split. Yeah, it's very expensive. It's split into 2 semesters, so you only have to pay like half of it per semester. But it is definitely very expensive, especially here at Harvard. But the thing with Harvard, they give a lot of financial aid, which is definitely a good thing, and it's need-based, so you show your parents' taxes, yeah, and then they decide how much they want to give you.
Makes sense. And I know that they also have good scholarships if you come in like from abroad, or it depends on case by case situation. But yes, I mean, that's awesome. And it's 80,000 a year for the tuition. Although when I was looking at the website, it was like 50 something.
Yeah, I think
Oh.
it's around 90 if you add everything together.
Okay.
There's room and there's like it's called room and board. I still get confused on what everything means, but tuition itself is around there. Like the full price I know is about like 92.
Wow.
Yeah, if you really include everything, which is expensive.
Was that for financial aid?
Maybe it probably was, but you also have things like food, like at the dining hall. That's also a part of the cost. So everything is included. I'm like thinking really what else. So room, food. They give you grants depending on your financial aid too. So you get I think $2,000 for either a semester or for every year for things like books, like textbooks because they're required, and then any other things, maybe like a computer if you need it. And then I think in the winter also if you're on financial aid, you get a $300 like winter grant for like winter clothes, things like that.
So, and how did your parents feel when you got accepted? Because I know you told me that they just came to visit.
Yeah.
They're still here,
Yeah, they're
right?
still here. I'm
That's
meeting
so
up with them right
amazing.
now, like,
Oh my
after
God, nice. So, how do they feel like when they got to Harvard, when they saw all these campuses? I mean, it's so beautiful.
Exactly. So my parents came here yesterday, and the entire time they've just been saying, "Oh, I would never imagine that we'd be at Harvard." So they're definitely very excited. I remember when I got in, they just kept calling all their friends saying that, "Oh my God, our daughter's going to Harvard," because it's mainly the name. Everyone really knows what Harvard is, especially between us Ukrainians.
Sure.
It's a very big deal. I know that one of my sister's friends goes here too, or she graduated. She's a teaching assistant here, but she's also from Stanford. So I think I'm the second person from our Ukrainian community to come here. So it's very exciting. But my parents, I remember they were moving in. They couldn't really believe it. Like when we were all moving in on that day, they were getting all my stuff out of the car, and they just didn't really expect to have this. They didn't expect their daughter to go to such a great school.
That's so awesome. How do you feel? Like, is it intense? Like, is it a lot of work? Do you get some free time? I know that you shared you don't. How is it how is it life in Harvard? Other than like the studying, do you do any like social activities? How is it going here?
So academically, it is very intense. Sometimes you get imposter syndrome because you think that everyone here is really smart and that, oh, like they're doing this effortlessly. They don't study that much because you don't see them doing it. For my case, I barely have any free time. All I do is sit in my dorm and study or go to the library and study because there is a lot of work. I don't know if it's just the classes that I'm taking this year, but for my history class and my psychotherapy class, there are a lot of readings. I read maybe like 300 pages a week. Yeah, and you have to take notes on everything. So it definitely takes a while. And then for math, we have these things called problem sets here, P sets, and it's just basically homework assignments, but they take a few hours to do. It's just extended. And then that's the same case for my computer science class. So everything just takes a lot of time. I don't have that much free time. Like I go on my phone a few times a day, not that much though, because I try to not get distracted. Yeah. But for other students, I would say it's the same. Socially, let's see, there's a lot of clubs here. There's a lot of activities to do here on campus, but it is hard to find time. Some clubs are more intense than others. Sometimes you have to like meet with them like a lot of times a week and like do these things. Personally, I'm not a part of any clubs yet because I don't think I have time for it. But I think next semester I want to join the Women in Computer Science Club, which I went to a few meetings, not that many, but it's not that intense or anything.
I like that. I mean, I don't like that you don't have free time, but yeah, but what is your end goal, if you remember from what you said in the application, or maybe change it since, our life changes all the time, and yeah, maybe you came up with something else, but what is it that you want to do after Harvard, and why is it important that you do it after Harvard? Why Harvard is important in this case?
Yeah. So right now, I'm planning on getting an internship for sophomore summer and also junior summer. And with that, I want to get maybe a job offer from one of them and then have a job set after Harvard. And then maybe on the side with my Harvard education, I want to create an app or maybe like a website to help people. Something kind of like maybe social media. I'm not really sure yet, but I don't really have any ideas because I don't have time to think about it yet. But something maybe like Facebook, like you can communicate with other people, video chat through Messenger. So something similar to that. But yeah, it's more personal, I feel like. My like having a Harvard degree kind of. I don't really know what I want to do to help other people yet for sure, but that's just kind of my plan.
Yeah, and I'm sure you'll figure that out when you get closer to it. And I also think that having this on your resume, like having Harvard in your resume, is definitely going to help whenever like you're talking to investors or you want to get into any accelerator programs. They love this kind of stuff, so that's great. And computer science. So I know there is MIT somewhere close here as well. How is like, because I don't know anything about like studying at Harvard. How is their computer science programs compared to like that university? And did you know, like when you were applying, did you know that you wanted to do computer science, or you kind of came up with it here?
Yeah. So I've wanted to do computer science for I think about 2 years now. In high school, I did this 6-month immersion program called Synchrony, and it kind of taught me how to code more on the front end side. And then I also took a few courses in high school. I took intro to programming concepts. I took AP Computer Science principles, AP Computer Science A. So that was kind of my computer science background. I did know for the most part that I wanted to do computer science here, only because Harvard is kind of known about computer science. But for MIT, I don't really know their situation. I know it's definitely a very good program. I know that Harvard and MIT, you can cross-register classes. So you can take classes, like if you go here, you can take classes at MIT. I think most people do it for computer science too. I don't know if I'm going to because you do have to travel all the way to MIT to do it. And I think the education here should be just fine.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Is it far, the MIT?
Not really, actually. You can take the T here, which is like the subway station.
But you have to. Okay.
Yeah, but you have to go all the way there. I think it's like maybe 10 minutes, so it's not that far. But like if I want to wake up for an early class, I don't really know if I want to do that.
I remember you said that you have a friend who's an international student. Where is she from?
She's from Turkey.
Turkey. Do you know how hard was that for her to get accepted by any chance? Whether it was a similar application process or whatever maybe that that she shared in terms of like a perspective of an international student?
Yeah. I don't really know her situation that well, but I know that other people from her school also got into prestigious universities. I know one of her friends is going to Columbia. So I don't really know how that works. But I know for international students, there's like a complication there because of the visa. So they have to fill out a lot of documents to come here and study. And then they have to wait for that to get approved, things like that. So it's a tough process. But with Harvard, I think Harvard could definitely help you out and do that.
Yeah, and because we help people also like to fill out everything for the visa, student visa. But I feel like it's definitely, you have higher chances of being approved for a visa when you go and study at Harvard rather than at some language schools, anywhere. So makes sense. What would be like your final thoughts, or not even thoughts, maybe advice to give to people that want to come here and study?
I would say don't think it's impossible. Thinking about Ivy League schools, you kind of get scared. You kind of get set back. It's like, oh my God, I don't think I can do it. I would say apply to as many schools as you can because you never really know. Every school does their application process differently. You can also apply early if you would like. I didn't do that. I did regular decision. If you apply early, I think Harvard does early action. So if you do get in, you're not forced to go there. You're not bounded by a contract. I think for a lot of other schools, you can do early decision. So then if you get in, you do have to go there. It's definitely possible. If you really put in the work during high school, you can definitely do it. Just try to stay on top of your work. That's kind of what I have to say. Take as many hard classes that you know you'll do good in. And then also put yourself out there, get involved in extracurriculars, and also do what interests you. Because if you don't, and if you just do random things just so you think, like if you think that the more you do is better, that's not really the case. I would say get involved in things like clubs and try to get, what are they called? Try to get like positions in the club. I know I did Future Business Leaders of America in high school. That was like the business club at our school. That was just a branch at our school though. It wasn't a state thing or a national thing. It was just at my school. So I got involved in that. That also helped me because I talked about that in my interview and I kind of tied that into my personal life, how I always was interested in business.
Do they look at some of the things if you have like social media channels, or if you get published at some, I don't know.
Like a newspaper.
Yeah, something.
I think, I don't know if this is true, but I think they do a little bit of like a background check almost. I would say put your social media on private. That's what I did my entire life. I don't have anything public. And I would also say be careful what you post, especially if it's something pretty bad that goes against the university's values. You should not put it on the internet at all. But I do think they check a little bit, but I wouldn't really know because everything was private for me.
Makes sense. Thank you so much. Whatever I can help you with, if you need to be posted anywhere or, stuff like that, I'll be happy to help. Yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Yep, thank you for having me. I could definitely share my college application with you, and then we can see our dorm.
Короче, мы закончили интервью. Я вообще как будто бы в невероятной сказке побыла. Очень рада, что сюда приехала. И после интервью пошла в гифт-шоп. И пока ходила, накупила всякого всего здесь. Там всякие тетрадки, майки и так далее. Забыла, что у меня в 3:50 улетает самолет домой, а уже 2:40. И я, вот сейчас вызвала Uber, стою, жду. Надеюсь, не опоздаю. Я еще очень голодная, было бы хорошо что-то перекусить, но посмотрим. Такие вот дела. Я сейчас в аэропорту. Просто чуть успела доехать до аэропорта. Я в последний момент поняла, что я забыла, что у меня самолет отправляется сейчас. И приехала в аэропорт за 30 минут до отправления. И просто сейчас очень быстро бегу на самолет. Я уже прошла чек-ин. Все. Еще что самое интересное, это то, что я жутко голодная. Здесь Starbucks по дороге. Зашла купить еду. Жду теперь, пока сделают еду. Короче, пипец. У меня реально 15 минут до отправления в самолет. Но зато погуляла по Бостону. Очень жалко, что у меня было так мало времени. Я, может быть, туда вернусь еще, пока в Нью-Йорке. Посмотрим, потому что там так красиво, так классно, так атмосферно. В общем, я уже в Нью-Йорке. Я когда забегала в самолет, я подхожу, где нужно сканировать вот эту штучку, билет свой. И она говорит: ты Карина? Я еще даже не успела просканировать. Я говорю: да. Она говорит: заходи быстрее. И они за мной закрыли дверь. Хотела сказать не это. Хотела сказать, что несколько месяцев назад, может, год назад, я смотрела видео Марины Могилко. Она там летала из Сан-Франциско в Лос-Анджелес в командировку на 1 день. Я думала, блин, как же это круто, работать над тем, что ты любишь, летать вот так на интервью. И я сегодня осознала, что я делаю то же самое. Что я вот просто взяла, во-первых, да, что я сейчас наконец-то занимаюсь тем, что я так люблю, занимаюсь своим бизнесом. Второе, это то, что я вот так взяла и действительно полетела на интервью в другой город. Вообще, просто такой был классный инсайт, такое классное ощущение. Сейчас беру Uber и еду домой, потому что Малсик был дома уже 12 часов. Вот. Ну и мне после столького сидения нужно бы погулять, так что идеально получилось. Все. Мы в Нью-Йорке.